Good morning, good morning, good morning. MJ here. I'm going to look at the daily aspect and we're going to see what is going on. You remember last couple days we've had a lot of aspects that were really prominent due to the aspect that was going on. It created something else. Where we were in this trapezoid trying to work through things, grand trions, squares, and T-squares that were going on. Very difficult. Well, yesterday, we left off with, I'll bring it up in a minute, but we left off at a certain place, and we'll go to that in a minute when I show you the chart. First thing I want to say is that at 7:25, I'm doing this video right now, and the day is being ruled by Saturn, and the hour, the day is being ruled by Saturn, and the hour is being ruled by, by Saturn as well right now, at least until 8:33 this morning, and then it will be Jupiter will begin the ruler of the day. I do want to go over the energies first off of letting you know that where they are now. Jupiter sitting in Pisces, it just went to the 2nd degree. So its energy's not really strong. It's strong, but it's not mostly powerful because it's not really in the depths of Pisces in that constellation. So it's just now trying to figure out things, and it's just beginning its transit again back through Pisces, through that when it was 0 degrees when it entered, up to I believe it was the 7 degrees, and it went retrograde, and it's going through that. So it's now passing through that point of 0 to 7 degrees again, kind of working through something here. But I do want to say its energies at 1. Jupiter's energy throughout the day is going to be -5. And those two are kind of okay, Mars is out of bounds. It's like it's out of that 23, anything, 23 degrees and 33 minutes. It's out of the bounds. Anything over 23, but it's at a -23, creating Mars to be at a -5 in its energy. The sun is also at -23 degrees, 26 minutes in, out of bounds. It's at a -5. I believe with Jupiter, it's more or less not out of bounds, but it's at a minus. Or no, it's not. I'm sorry. I was looking at Saturn. It's minus due to it being retrograde. It's having the influence there. Venus, she's in her detriment. She's at a -16 degrees 1 minute there. And she's at a -4. She was at one point at a minus. Her energy was like at a -10, 9. She's been kind of coming down some. And it's all due to her being in the house of Scorpio, which is an opposite of the house that she rules. And she kind of looks across over there and she sees what's in that house that she rules. And sees what all's over there. Jupiter, the moon being exalted. We'll talk about the moon next. and the moon being all exalted and coming into contact with Jupiter and expansion. She's kind of maybe a little, she has a little jealousy there maybe of what's going on over there in her house. Like everybody seems to be, sudden changes taking on, and she's just sitting over here in Scorpio and nothing's going on. And she's kind of, maybe feeling a little sorry for herself because nothing seems to be happening. She wants to be in her home place, like all planets. Makes them exalted. It feels good. She's not really up to her usual self. Now, Mercury's at a -10 and 17 minutes in. And it's showing the energy, and it's retrograde now, and it's showing the energy today as a -10 due to the retrograde. The moon is at a -4. I'm sorry, it's at a 4 all day because it's exalted. It gets its exaltation in Taurus. And any aspects it has an influence toward Mars and Uranus. So it's going to be coming in contact today, or this week, this coming week. It'll be coming into contact with next day or so, day and a half, something like that. It will be coming into contact with or conjunction with Uranus and have some influence there that maybe there can be some sort of change that can be made. And so the only thing I see that where the energy is going to really change today is where the moon around 12, now these are Eastern Standard Time, 12:22 p.m. to 1:11 p.m., where the moon is at a 4. And by 6:28 p.m. to 7:39 p.m., the moon is going to go in its energy to a 7. That exaltation is going to kind of be kicking in and showing its power, its illumination. Feelings will be more heightened in that energy. Let's see, what else is there? Want to include Pluto in this. It's out of bounds at 23 degrees, 2 minutes. Nose are sitting. No. I'm trying to find out if there's anything. Pluto's about the only other one that's out of bounds. The biggest ones is the Sun, Mars, and Pluto. They're out of bounds. So those energies are real intense. Anytime it gets that far out of bounds, it gets intense. Sort of in a negative way. Alright. Got that part. Let's see. Like I said, today's going to be ruled by Saturn because it is Saturday. Right now, the hour is Saturn as well, but at 8:33 it will change. So we can go ahead and move over to that part, to the the astrology, and you can see yesterday at 1:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all that we were going through was just kind of your usual aspects going on. The Sun in Capricorn now, in conjunction with Mercury retrograde, the midheaven. There was still some things with some quincunxus where there was these energies that were just not kind of that there was some decisions and adjustments that needed to be made between the energies in each one of these. Like with Mars here to Uranus, please don't make any more sudden changes. We had Venus, the energies between her because it's the feminine energy that's within us, in love and those sort of things. It was for the North Node. A lot of people are thinking about love this time of year, and loved ones and that sort of thing, and or about the future, especially a lot of people who are single. And I know a lot of y'all are asking that, am I ever going to find love? Well, work on yourself and you will. When you start working on yourself spiritually and that light begins to shine, it's going to shine out there in the world. And what happens? People get drawn into the light. They see that something here. They can feel that energy. So you need to work on yourself. And she's, there's a lot of stuff here with the energies, and decisions and adjustments got to be made for the future. And the next one we had was Pluto. Pluto in a quincunx with Vista, that spiritual flame. We got to work on our spirit within us. Work on ourselves. And these are in that area of communication. It's in Gemini now. And it's about the communication, thoughts, the way we think. Maybe stop thinking so negative. What do we aspire to do here? What are we making plans for the future? Or we setting goals for ourselves? Remember, every time I say when you set a goal, set it anywhere from 3 to 5 years. Because somewhere between the last 2 years, there may come up something that you're going to have to make some adjustments. And right now would be one of those times. Do you aspire to do something here? Do you have plans? Or you just a zombie walking through life? So this is something here where there definitely has to be, especially with Pluto being minus 23 and being out of bounds, and that energy with Mars being out of bounds, Venus being in her detriment, not happy with where she is at this point. In her life, in relationship to growth and expansion. So you need to work on yourself. And when you start adjusting these energies and start aspiring to doing something and making the plans and setting goals and anywhere you're at, to a cause or a project you have, or even your belief, or a person that you're just coming into a relationship, and you kind of, if you have been doing the work on yourself, and you now all of a sudden are really ready to get involved in a relationship and putting that effort and that work in, then yeah, kind of set those aspirations of where you want to be in that. Or if it's your career that you're working on, if it's something that you focus a lot on. I know people are focused on relationships, their jobs, their monies, their relationships, or something else that's outside of their realm or their world, that's coming in, that's creating something that feels disrupted, or trying to push you beyond something here. Because like I said before, there's a lot of evilness going on that will try to keep you from excelling in whatever it is you're wanting to do, or wherever you're wanting to get into your spiritual journey. Okay? Anytime we go outside of, away from things, or exclude people that are not of good character, or we get associated with the wrong type of groups and this sort of thing, and we begin to lose our own identity or our own individualism, we got to take it back. We got to look around us and see who's around us that's influencing our world in not a positive way. Okay? So that's something here we got to really look at. And this was going on. So that heavy energy that was happening and taking place for these last, few days that I was showing, it's kind of quiet down. It's just your regular aspects. Look at where you're at. Look at, with the midheaven here, like I said, we had the square yesterday to the north node and to the south node. It was triggered by the moon coming in contact with the nodes. We have an opposition about our goals. And I felt like yesterday, this was kind of like a reset. Finish up what needs to be finished up. Whatever you're dealing with, it's time to finish it up. Because life is now going to start on that direction in humanity when Pluto gets over there in the 11th house and begins to work. And I mean, I'm telling you, there's going to be something here, and I feel it, where there is going to be I don't want to say a destruction of humanity, but it's going to be an altering experience for people, society as a whole. It's also going to be something with a change to authority, power, within, it's almost, I got this image just kind of popping up where there's father and there's the son or the child, kind of challenging the older authority to the new authority, to the younger. There could be that thing of a challenge. And it's going to be more or less in a spiritual way, of where it's almost like when a child gets to a certain age and they think they're like a young adult, or, coming time to go to college, or maybe been in college. It's almost like challenging the establishment of authority of a father. It's like, I'm a man now, or I'm a woman now. Kids, young adults go through stages of where they feel like, well, I'm not a baby anymore. Don't treat me like a baby. I don't believe in treating kids like babies, but I don't believe in treating them like adults either, because they're not. They have not experienced things. It's not until they get out in the world that the world affects them, that they make mistakes. We shelter our children in some way, and then some of them don't ever have that opportunity to be sheltered. I'm a strong believer, if the authority doesn't happen in the home and set the limits and the rules, how is a child that has none of those, when they get out in the world, they think they can just do whatever they want to do? Mothers and fathers, don't cry for your children when you didn't do it in the home. And I agree with everyone, and I've been saying this. Some people have been out there more dominant. Denzel Washington, Judge Joe Brown, a lot of them have been out there, and there's been several others. I haven't heard this so much from women. I'm going to tell you that. They want to be the neutrers, the lovers, and all this. But when you're a single parent, you've got to be mama and daddy. Now, I have seen where there's some women that really, take up both those roles. And it's difficult for them. They want to love their children. They want to nurture them. Not all, but most. But when you have to do the dual role of mother and father, because the father's not in the home, then it's hard. You got to buckle down. You got to show them, you're not going to run over me. I'm your parent. Respect is taught or learned at home. Because when they get out there in that world and they don't respect anything, they didn't respect the home they lived in, They didn't respect their parents. They didn't follow the rules and regulations or whatever it was into the home. Do you think they're going to do it out there in the world? No. So don't wait for your children when you didn't set everything down and didn't show the authority within the home. If you don't deal with them, society's going to deal with them. Now, a lot of them, can think they can get away with things that they've been doing, but it doesn't last forever. Does not last forever. The illusion is coming off. That people think that they can just do other people wrong and get away with it. That illusion is going to just go. So, with that being said, let's go with what started after midnight at 1:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right an hour and a half after midnight. We have Mercury retrograde moved back into Sagittarius. And it appears the sun moved 1 degree forward. It's kind of not showing out right now, but that's where it was doing. It's transiting back into Sagittarius. And let's see, we did have with the ascending, Libra was the ascending in the first house. Ascending was getting closer to the south node, creating some sort of opposition here with a square to the midheaven in the home. So really wanting to have, when there's oppositions, it's, being aware, having that awareness, that conscious awareness, and looking at something in the home where there's opposing energies. You got to look at something in an objective way. And consciously facing relationships with people in your home. And being honest about it. And bringing something up or bringing something out. And illuminating something here, what may be the goal in the home. Or the frustration that's going on in the home. If you're not happy with something, there could be a lot of people that'll move. They don't like the area they live in. Maybe they feel like it could be a detriment to the stability of the child. A lot of people will try and move and move away from where they're living because it's not a healthy home. It's coming out into the light that the area or whatever where we live not making us happy. It may be causing the disruptions within the home of what the goal was. So, we've got to look at that, and we maybe, don't feel the security we need to feel, because Cancer is about that, what we feel. And this energy is going to intensify throughout the day. I told you that. Because it's going to, and as the moon gets closer to Uranus, it's going to be, excuse me, I had tissue. It's going to be more and more intense. Something here, you feel that there needs to be some sort of change. Maybe there's a change in the plan. Maybe there's a change in the goal. Or a devotion to something here. Where you start setting down and saying, okay, we're going to have to move. So how are we going to do that? And where are we going to go? Where do we want to be in the next 3 to 5 years? Okay. And there could be some discussion or bringing something out to this with the frustration as well towards something that there's got to be some adjustments made and got to make the decisions. And there could be some frustration where there may be, where there's maybe rethinking things that, hey, can we agree that we don't agree, or can we agree on something here? The next thing that happens at 8:33 this morning, now this is when Saturn takes over, or before, because it started at 7:25 when the sun came up. Remember, I said day runs, 24-hour day runs from the time the sun comes up to the next day when the sun rises. And so now this at this time, Jupiter, even though Saturn's ruling the day, Jupiter is ruling the hour. Because each planet for the next 24 hours, their time is going to be that they're going to be ruling. We're in the second hour of the day, so in that 24 hours, so it rules that second hour, along with kind of co-rules with Saturn, and we see that here Jupiter has a sextile to Saturn, so they're kind of trying to get along here, help each other out. Working over issues where we need to expand, or where did we make a mistake in our growth, and looking that over and looking to getting the information. And we see that they're off of this as well. We see that there's a trine here to Vista, that eternal flame, the keeper of the eternal flame, spiritual flame. And we also see the trine to the midheaven. So it's something in our goals and our plans that we want to work on it and get that flow going. But there's a possibility of what are we missing here? Because what happens is we have that trapezoid coming back, where don't get too comfortable in the trions here, because we have to really look at the foundation of something here. We maybe have to think how we, got to clear the foundation, make sure it's all leveled and everything is straight and everything's going good. And we got to make sure we double check over that, of what our travel plans may be, or what our philosophy is on something here, of what we're trying to create, what we're inspired here. Got to relook over the plans. And remember, I always said, and everybody else, everybody else says, well, a lot of people use Mercury as a thing of somebody from the past returning. And it's not, because it's all about the communication. It's all about the thinking, the thoughts. And it's who you're in partnership or building something with. That there has to be some sort of discussion here, and a meeting of the minds, more or less. And bringing something out into the light of what maybe possibly that something here emotionally somebody wants to change, because what is ascending right now is Capricorn. And it's in that second decant, which is anybody that may be born between December the 10th to the 19th. And with Venus being in her detriment and an opposition to change, someone here may not feel, they may be kind of stubborn to change something here. They may not see, you're going to have to get whoever this is, because right now they're being influenced by Mars. And like I said, Mars is at a -5. They may not be able to see what you're trying to show them, or the work you're putting into something. They may not understand it, because there is that quincunx there with Mars to what you feel now. And there has to be, looking at something objectively, because the energies aren't matching due to Venus being in detriment. Where there's some difficulty, if somebody feels like, what about me? How am I part of all this plan? Where do I fit in? So this could cause some problems. Because as long as this, for the next 15 months, sits in here, there's going to be that scale that's going to be tipping back and forth between the past and the future. I have to do something here. And look what it's attached to. Mars is sending something that's sextile, which is definitely dealing with the opportunity for success somewhere here, but it's mentally, you have to activate the mind. And if you don't activate it, it's not going to work. You have to communicate about it. Whatever's going on here. Because right now that scale is going to be, you can see it. If I used Venus or Libra as the scale, see how the scale is tilted right now? It is not balanced. So there's got to be some adjustments made here because of what somebody feels. Because all of a sudden somebody wants to make a sudden change. Now, it will balance throughout the day. Somewhere along the way, there will find some balance here. But there still may be an objection of what someone plans or how they're going to, in their daily routine, or it's going to affect something here, something in the past. Don't get too comfortable here in this, what would be a cradle or trapezoid, because here's the foundation. Bringing something out in the light. Here's the walls, okay? And then there's the opposition of Jupiter, expansion and growth. And while it's retrograde, it's a reassessing something where you are at in your life right now. This could be dealing with men as well. Men are changing. Let them change. They fall, they'll fall. If they rise, they'll rise. If they fall, they have to get up, shake the dust off, and straighten it out. But this will be coming closer, and it will conjunct with Venus, the feminine energy. And there could be where, the feminine energy, especially over here, in Scorpio, this is in the first decant, which is anybody born at that last part of Libra, all the way to the 9th of November, or what is it? That last part of November, or no, I'm sorry, last part of October into the first part. To see the sun setting here, it may be in Capricorn at the first, so it still deals with some part of Sagittarius because of the way that this is where you get that in that Pilates astrology, where it looks like it, things are kind of like, looks like it's over in the other zodiac sign or whatever, but it's actually that last part or degree of the sign that they were born in at the end of November and now into 1st of December. Or, December. No, we're going from December now to the last part of November here. Well, this is November. This is December, and then it's going to January. So it kind of throws me off a little bit too, because December's Capricorn. Part of it's Capricorn. Well, it's actually the last end of it is part of January, and the beginning of it is part of November. So it's in that place, and it's that 0 or that last part up to the 9th of December. Because we start the winter months now. What was 21st? It moved. So see what I mean about how the calendars can sometimes it doesn't quite make sense. It can be a little confusing. But if you think the sun sets the season, the universe's calendar is so much different than our calendar. We have to look at, we don't really recognize much of 0 as being any kind of important. We start with 1. Well, really, you can't start with 1 because it starts with 0. Can't leave it out. So with the trapezoid we're talking about with the sun, starts here at this point. The sun has now began in Capricorn. And begins that first season. The best way I can put, yes, because I know everybody's looking at things in a calendar perspective. Like if you go look at your calendar on the wall, you say, well, MJ, we're still in December. Yeah, I know that. But the astrological chart doesn't actually deal with your calendar on the wall. This is seasonal calendar, okay? If you can keep that in mind when you look at the zodiac chart, it's a seasonal calendar because each one of these represents a span of 7 years. So now, while the sun is going through here, people are going through the seasons of winter. You get me now? And then we will go into the spring season. If you look at, oh gosh, how can I do this? If you look here, this is the horizon. It's almost like in an airplane. You see this line from here. Oh, shoot. I meant to change it. I didn't. You see this line that runs straight across here. If you would look at an airplane, there's a dial that when the airplane's going, and say you're the pilot sitting right here, this would be your horizon. Okay? And so this would be the east. And this would be where the horizon is. And so this would actually be the ascending right here on the horizon of the sun coming up at 7:25 this morning. This would be the west, where the descending is. What is descending? So let's say, I know a lot of people look at this and everybody looks on their ascending at the time of birth. If you were born in the nighttime hours, it would be something here of an importance with the descending. In some respects there. Like I said, the ascending is the degree on the eastern horizon at the moment of birth and begins the cusp of the first house. That's why a lot of people put emphasis on the cusp. The rising sign is the entire sign of 30 degrees. The descending or the descendant is the sign that is setting on the west horizon at birth. That's why people say, are you born in the AM? This would be the AM, and this would be the PM of your time of birth. That's why you need to know. Were you born when the sun was descending, or were you born when the sun was ascending? It does make a difference. And then the hemispheres, this is the south, okay? And this is the north. Because it goes north, east, south, west. Or it goes east, south, north, west. Southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere. Like right now, I'm in the southern hemisphere because this is the season of winter for us. Because of the world's axis. This would be the top of the axis, or this would be the top of the axis. This would be like the southern. Kind of gives, so you got to look at it that the astrology doesn't necessarily, it doesn't look at like our calendar on the wall. It's a seasonal calendar. And that's why I've always, from early childhood, have always known that every 7 years there's a change. That's why my parents, my grandparents always used to say something, and you would say something about your life or something about this. And my grandmothers used to always say, well, oh, don't worry about it. Your life's going to change every 7 years. And they were right. Because this is made up 7 years here in the season, 7 years here, 7 years here, 7 here. And it keeps going around that way till life ends. You're in a season of your life. And with the sun going through here, we're in that winter season. Of our lives. So, like I said, because planets, some of them move so slow, like this one's going to take 2.5 years to get through, 2.5 to 3 years to finally move into here. See, it works in a seasonal calendar, not in a, when the sun moves here in Aquarius, it's the middle of winter. Here's at the end of winter. Of the season coming to an end. But in the universe's calendar, in the cosmos, this would be a reference of 7 years because the way things move so slowly. Look at Pluto, how slow it moves. It takes it 20 years. When it gets here, it's going to be 20 years. So there's some slow-moving planets over here, Neptune, Saturn. Excuse me. Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. And the sun, it moves, it takes it 30 days. So I just kind of wanted to give you that with the birthdays and stuff that's going on, that it could be important to some of you of where you exactly were born. That something, you're either bringing something to light or something's being illuminated to you, or maybe you're going through some frustrations at that time, or it's major for that person. And because when the sun hits here into the second decan, it's going to be these people's time of birth. And then these people, like right now, somebody could be born in Capricorn, but their ascending would be different. Because ascending would move every two hours. It takes ascending to go through one sign. So when this gets over here, that this house here would actually be a Capricorn and a Capricorn. Strongest characteristics of the personality. And this would be still in Capricorn. All right? But their ascending would be different. Same thing here. In the last stages of of December, they would still be at up to the 21st. They would be that, but they would be a different. And I think this is where somebody on the live feed was confused in their ascending, because they thought their ascending was the same as their sun, and it's not. You're still born a Capricorn because of the calendar. But what you show or display out there is different on what you show society. Doesn't it make sense now? Because like I said, this ascending takes about 2 hours to go from the beginning, over here, excuse me. And right now it's in the middle of the 30 degrees. When it hits 15, it's in the middle there. I hope that kind of makes some sense there. But remember, don't get comfortable in this energy, because most people would be looking at something here that maybe they are setting some goals in their foundation. Maybe they're looking at their life. Usually when wintertime comes, especially here in the United States, you know, you can't get out, you can't do much of this or that. And people are looking at their lives and where they're at right now, and maybe looking toward the spring, because people have a tendency of planning ahead, not knowing what's there. All we know is what's past, what we've been through. Maybe we don't want to go through that anymore. So we got to change. And if you're in a relationship, some people may feel comfortable in this stage, or you may feel, but there's an opposition here. Between where you are right now and how the growth. You're going back over something here. And what's fueling all this is this energy right here that's dealing with the moon and Uranus conjunct. Somebody wants some change here, or their feelings are changing. And this is in Taurus. So Taurus is a fixed sign. Scorpio is a fixed sign. But yet, Capricorn is a cardinal sign. So there's something here opposing something that somebody's feelings. And Scorpio can be a very aggressive energy, because remember, it's ruled by Mars. Very aggressive, but emotionally aggressive. You see what I'm saying? Whereas in Aries, Mars would be very passionate aggressive. Or what some people might say, passive aggressive. And over here, they would be more emotionally aggressive. They act more off their emotions and how they're feeling. Are they feeling envious? Are they feeling jealous? Are they happy? Most of their actions are related onto, or their aggressiveness, or whatever their what they want to is delved off the emotions. And then it's also ruled by Pluto, co-ruled with Pluto. So a Scorpion energy would be working off of their emotions, or their actions would be more important because of their emotions and how they're feeling. They react off of that in an emotional way to sort of sometimes maybe be destructive or implementing their authority, that they're going to change this and they're going to change that. And, it's my life, my individuality, blah, it can get pretty intense with the Scorpion energy. So don't get too comfortable in where all this is right now, because it will definitely, there's something here that's an influence to it all. And there's decisions that's going to have to be made and adjustments to goals and plans. That spiritual keeper of the flame, the keeper of the spiritual flame within you. The next thing we have is what's important here is the moon in Taurus. Now it's moved past, and now it's in this quincunx to the south node. And what is felt about the south node? Because that moon in Taurus is also using the energy of Uranus, which is the shaker, rebellion, can also be the shaking up of the foundation, destroying the foundation. Well, I wouldn't say so much destroying it, but working on the foundation in life. If it's out of balance, what do you want to do? You want to level it, right? You want to put the level on it. Where's things out of balance here? I got to do something here, because what this energy is with has to deal with setting everything off is the quincunx from the moon to Mars. That is the lead here. But there's also here to the south node. And that could be with the influence of Uranus, shaking up something in the past because of what you know, history, somebody's nature. Somebody could be very well out of balance here. So they feel like they're at a point in their life, they have to do something here. Because of the way they feel, they're influenced by the moon and by Saturn. And Saturn's ruling the day, which is they have to take their authority. They feel like they have the emotional authority to shake things up, or their emotions are controlling them. Because where is Saturn? It's sitting over in Pisces. That's where the ascending is, and it's past Saturn. So there's something here that's creating something of authority. And because of this quincunx from the moon and what person feels, they're set in, can be somewhat stubborn. It could be that I am the authority, my way or the highway. Whatever's going to be done, it's going to be my way. People got to get out of that. They have got to get out of that attitude. That gets you nowhere. It does not serve you. Because you don't live on this earth alone. And then, that's the important thing of the day, and what's ruling at this time. I said 11:23 this afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. And remember, like I said, that energy of the moon is being increased as the day. Because remember I said it's going to go from a 4 to a 7. It's going to increase in its intensity. Yep. Because right now it's like at 20 degrees. So it's, and now we have Mercury at 29 degrees over in Sagittarius. And it's in its detriment because it's opposite of its home. Knowing that the spiritual flame is over here. That deals with communication. It deals with thinking. And here it has to deal with faith, destiny, philosophy, learning, teaching, expansion, growth, luck. But where's the luck planet? It's over here. But it's retrograde. And it doesn't have that strong energy like the moon does. Because it's at a -5. Because it's retrograde. It's reassessing its growth. Kind of been maybe stagnant. Now, the major thing is here is they're not alone. We're not alone. Because we have the Yod here. Knowing that Mars, okay, that the moon is quincunx to Mars, okay, which is what's going on now, major, because it's influenced by the moon, is being influenced to shake things up here. And it needs to take some sort of action. Mars is the instigator. And look where it's at in the decant, because Mercury is influencing it. And usually what influences our thinking or our communication? What we feel. What we aspire. Do we feel value, worth? Or are we, it's about our values and our feelings and our self-worth and our talents and money. If you're aspiring to do something and let's say you want to do a project, you're going to build something. Well, do you have the money to build it? Do you have the credit to borrow to create it? People are thinking about inflation right now. They don't have what they want. And they're talking about it. And they're talking about authority. And their action. Saturn is that of the law. Something people are talking about. Things have got to change. It's justice. Saturn comes in and will create karma. And it's in the house of karma as well. So it's having a big influence here because it's ruling the day. So these two are going to meet up. And not such a good area. There's going to be a lot of talk. There's going to be a lot of thinking. When it comes to things about the law, and we're hearing it on the news, if you watch it, a lot of people don't watch the news, or I don't even know where you get your news from. Be cautious on that too, where you get information from. A lot of people are being misled in this area right now. And it's sextiling over to the past. So there's a lot of stuff talking about actions from the past. What was done, the laws from the past, this or that. People are trying to change the laws, not in a good way, I might add. There's been a lot of talk over several months now of, the laws aren't the same for everybody, but they should be, because they were conceived for everyone. And how does it make us feel? Because, like I said, the yod, which is the fate of destiny or the finger of God. I'm just looking here and I don't see it, but the finger of God is pointing at this right here, the apex of the conjunction of the moon, what you feel. Rebellious. Some people feel rebellious. Some people feel like I have to change. I got to make some behavioral change. People are looking at maybe their self-worth. There's something that emotionally that is so intense with this moon that as it grows during the day and we get closer and closer to the full moon, that's going to be in Cancer, which is the moon's home, the motherland. And I've got to say this, and I don't like talking politics or a lot of that kind of stuff, but it is an influencer. The United States, signing the Declaration, and this country was set in Cancer. It was signed July. Look at the date. July the 4th, 1776. That's Cancer. So people in the United States, it's their emotions. They get real intense emotions. Or people get real depressed. I mean, people get like that all the time, but I'm sure there's other countries that also is the motherland is considered, because it's considered the motherland. The home, where you feel at home. And the foundation right now is this fire energy here in Sagittarius, something of a lot of people in faith, turning toward maybe faith, or some people turning toward philosophy, people changing maybe their philosophy because they know they have to make some sort of adjustment to the energy. People are saying things have got to change. Well, it begins with us internally in our faith, what we believe in. Some people, we've got a lot of people who believe in their religious faith, like myself, and then there's others who sometimes with their own education, they want to trust in science. They have faith in science, or they have faith in philosophical belief systems. There can be atheists. And that's their choice. If you'd rather put your faith in science, I don't, simply because science changes. God never does. His word is his word. But science can be manipulated. Let's say if somebody was creating a drug or creating something here, they can change the numbers, and it has happened, to be able to sell that drug. It's happened already. So that's why I don't trust science. We don't know everything, and there's a lot of people, physicists, engineers, all this stuff, that trust in the science. But where are you getting your science from? And is the figures being manipulated? I love figures. I love numbers. But the numbers can be manipulated. But this here, this whole thing here, you can't manipulate this. By no means. So it could be where after Mercury has been in Capricorn, it comes back to Sagittarius. There's going to have to be some adjustments made to survive something here. Rethinking. And it's about something in the past, because this fire with air, what does air do to fire? It ignites it. It kind of blows it up, more or less. So this Mars energy is looking for the fire, looking for the air, the information on the scale of balance. Because something here is out of balance. The scale is off. The past maybe means less, and something about the future is more heavy. Look at the scale. When you put things, you keep putting things on what we're hearing about the future, okay? And you keep putting it on that scale, what happens? That goes down. So this would be something of the future. We keep hearing about the future. We keep hearing about this. There's a lot of talk about this and that, okay? And so this is outweighing the past. But people are looking at the past. Their minds, they're talking about the past. And their minds are going to be activated, that there's action that needs to be taken to bring something into balance. Because right now, things are out of balance at this time. At 11:23. People are starting to notice things are out of balance. And look at the nodes. They're at 22. What did I say? End times. A lot of people, there's a lot of talk about end times here. Now, we all know, and I go by God's word or Christ's words, only the Father knows when the time comes. We don't know, but we're supposed to look for the signs. And a lot of people are looking for that. And a lot of people are talking about cycles complete. But when they talk about and they look for the end times, they look for the signs. I've been hearing it for quite some time. People talking about, well, this prophecy has happened. So that means this prophecy, the cycle has completed. That sign has been shown. They're trying to establish the foundation here. The next thing has to do with structure. And what did I say about the sextile? The mind being activated. You have to activate the mind. You have to think for it to work. And the structure of the foundation. You have to have a solid foundation here. You can't go in there and express a theory or a belief or a something here without a structured foundation. And it's about worship, because Sagittarius is about worship. And man's anatomy. You know, there's a lot of talk about what is a man, what is a woman. Well, very simple. You're born a woman, you're a woman. It's the X and Y and the X and X chromosomes. What determines you? People are questioning, even some people, a lot of them, we're talking about people changing their identity, their pronouns, their physical from a man to a woman. There's been that going on. This cycle has got to end. You're born a man, you're a man. Be a man. Man up. This is where the foundation lies. And there could be with a lot of adjustments made here because people feel like, well, I want to change. Once you flip that switch, guess what? That's it. Man goes to be a woman. How you going to trans back? You better think long and hard on this. Because we're looking at a cardinal sign and a mutable sign. There's no, once you make this adjustment here to survive something here, it's set. So you better be careful here with these two, because right in between it is this. Never make rash, quick decisions based on what you feel, because that's the sudden change at any minute. And what breaks my heart, and I have so much empathy for, is that people being influenced by this to later on, all of a sudden when they start taking all the drugs and they're doing all this and they're doing that, and they're like, and all of a sudden they start to cry, like, what have I done? I mean, it makes you stop and think. And I have empathy for them because there was something here that was out of balance. And the influencers came in. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that I could say when it come to Venus about being the temperess and her influence. And how she wants to change the future or changes people's future. It's all been written through history. Go check it out. She's called by many other different names. But remember, as she started out as the goddess of love, she can also be the goddess of envy, jealousy, anger, when she doesn't get what she wants. And she can have an evil side. It's all through. All through history. Look at the women that was in authority and power who had power over men. Go check it out. And how the foundation here is something that's got to make sure it's right. And this is where you got to activate the mind for it to work. If you want productivity and you want success, then you've got to activate your mind. And look at history in the past. And then you can make the adjustments and decide and change something here. And maybe even at the point of shaking the foundation up, that all of a sudden now you can create something here. After you've cleared out all the clutter and the garbage that's been dumped on you, that you're standing on a mountain of junk and rhetoric and not a solid foundation that's crumbling. Now you can clear all that out and now establish a strong foundation. From what now? If you've learned something here and you can make those adjustments for the future. Because this is the apex. The double energy here. I'm getting the hiccups. But this is where the yod, the finger of God, the fate of destiny, that talks about the past and the moon in a quincunx, the influence of the past, and Mars. There's got to be an adjustment here because that is what quincunxes are about. That these energies don't coincide with one another. I mean, we have a cardinal sign here, we have a fixed sign here, and we have a mutable sign. So yeah, what's going on here that people are just trying to survive? I hear it every day. People say we're just living day to day, trying to make one day at a time. Can't even plan their futures. And that's a shame. That's a pity. That's horrible. And then there's some people who have gotten themselves in a good place and lean on their faith and believe and have that faith. And it really angers me when people try to destroy other people's faith. That people try to have faith in society. They try to have faith in their belief system. But other people are out there so determined to change other people. Why don't you go live your own life? Make yourself okay. Deal with your life. Straighten your life out. People, you think you can go out there and change the world. To sway other people to your argument or to your side. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to sway anybody here any direction whatsoever. You believe what you want to believe, and I believe what I want to believe. Like I said, you can flip this channel anytime. But I'm not going to give you anything here but what I feel is the truth. And everybody knows that when there's quincunxes, there is a struggle or a decision of an adjustment because these energies are not working. There's difficulty between these two energies. And with God is like you need to activate your mind. You need to think for yourself. You're going to be held accountable in the end, and it's taught so much in religion or in faith and belief that your actions, you will be judged in the end of the cycle or when that day comes for your own actions. You can't say, well, so-and-so over there, it made me do it. You got a mind of your own. God gave you a mind. Use it. We all have moral. We have civil, law, moral law, and faith. Laws of conduct, moral conduct. You don't go around running around butt naked, right? Nobody wants to see everybody else's butt. Some might, but it's kind of stupid. And I don't care to see anybody else's junk everywhere. I mean, I can refer this into dating sites as well, because I've been there. Because some people say, "Well, you need to go," and boy, I tried. Believe me, I tried. But it's like, no. I mean, I see images of men with their shirts off, with their cameras in front of a mirror and all that. I'm like, I don't want to see that. Well, you don't have no pride in yourself? You have no moral values? What? I don't want that in my life. It's your foundation. And this is what it is. This is the foundation. Activate your mind. You know the difference between right and wrong. and then make the proper adjustments. And you will get through things here because we're being shown something. You can't just be in this cradle. Now at 11:30, which is only 7 minutes from the last time or the last aspect, we have Venus in Scorpio in that quincunx to the North Node in Aries. I already talked about that. And then now we have a double yod here. Look at it. It's going from Mars to the midheaven. It starts out with Mars. Your actions. You're going to be held accountable for your actions. This is where I read that thing yesterday. I think it's on, it's in the December 21st clarification, where I read about the double yod key. The key here is being Mercury, that you need to think for yourself and you be accountable to your actions of where you are at right now in life. And we also have with the South Node, oops, I'm hitting the wrong screen. We also have the South Node to the midheaven because it switches between the two from Mars to mid because they're conjunct. And this is a double yod key. Where you're at and right now in your life, you've got to work on healing something here. You got to work on changing or clearing up your foundation. You're getting shook. And it's through these trapezoids. If you don't establish, like I said, if you don't establish a solid foundation here, which is where the trapezoid began, what I showed you, that was here. If you don't build something strong and solid and you don't clear the foundation, guess what? It's going to fall apart. You're looking at a tower. So it says something here when we look at Mars right now and you're seeing the towers in Terra, it's telling you, oops, you forgot something. You didn't clear that foundation before you started building something here. And whatever cards are around that is showing you what you missed. Either it has swords involved, which is talking about the communication and the thought, or it has to deal with the wands. It was your actions, or it was something with your emotions, the cups. But where's the pentacles? When you have the pentacles around something here and you still have the tower, then that means you have something of you could have had a solid foundation, but there was something you missed. So look around what's around that tower that's causing your foundation to collapse. What, as I said, I'm trying to remember the words I used or what was the, I can't remember it right now. And I don't think I have it. Let me look at something here. If I can find it. Nope. Well, maybe here. Hold on just 1 second. Couldn't find it. Dang it. Oh well. I can't find it right now. Um, Here it is. All right, let me bring that up. What I said in that thing. If you have that, like going back to the tarot, and you're seeing that, okay? And like I said, the trapeze, which is sometimes called that, does not give a life of protection. That cradle, remember? Don't get comfortable in those triumphs because something you're going to miss here doesn't give you protection. And you will not gain from it. At worst, a constructed building can fail if a person has chosen a situation of protection. Remember the cradle. You don't gain from it without having prepared and cleared away the foundations. Likewise, also in the character, firmness can collapse, and calmness and stability can be replaced by the hysterical erraticness or erraticness. And it's going to crash. Do you get it now? Do you understand that? I hope so. So don't get comfortable in those things because you can miss something. And like I said, there is that that double key. Oh, where is it? In this explanation as well, which I thought was awesome. It's called the double yod key. It's 2 yods, which we see here, 4 conjunctions and 2 sextiles, and a square. Do you see the square? It's dealing with the sun. The sun squaring Neptune, illusions, getting comfortable in the trine or in the depression. You got to end this cycle. Don't get comfortable in something here. Because with Jupiter being retrograde, it's at a -5 energy. You got to reassess something here. That something ain't right. You're missing something here. Wherever you're at, there is no growth. It's stagnant. And you've got to do the work. You're going to have to put the work in. And the next square we have is a square of Mars to Neptune. So it's the Sun and Mars squaring Neptune, which has something to do with the 24. Okay, this is going to change soon, which has to do with religion of heaven's government and the yod, the sun. We were warned that something would happen here, that there would be a shift, there would be a change coming out of the heavens above. Fate and destiny. You create your own karma. So clean it up. And the blood. Because this will change. And this will go to 25 degrees. It's only two in that time of time. That's 58. Remember, it gets to 59 and it changes to the next degree. So then there's going to be this variation of grace, forgiveness, creation, a change in the human heart. People are got to wake up and get out of the illusion. And they don't really, nobody right now can't escape what's going to go here. And remember, A lot of people will say that Neptune is where people try to escape. Look where it's at. Mars, war, the warrior, wounds. You will suffer for what you've done. You're creating your own karma by your own actions. And that is what the divine is trying to tell us. It's a double key. And it's these inconjunctions or these quincunxes that are around that you've got to make some adjustments here in your spirit. It's a change of heart. You got to do it. Or live in the karma in the future that you created. The next thing we have is at 2:04 Eastern Standard Time, where the moon in Taurus is in opposition to Venus. Her cycle in Scorpio. Something here. And these are connected. Remember, the moon connects to the node. 22, 22, 22, 22. We have the yod still with the same thing. Your own actions. You've got to change your heart. And the Jupiter in conjunction with the ascending. Behavior, attitude, knowing that you are worth something. You were created and born into this world. Every living being, every living thing has a worth and a value. You can't ignore this, and you can't get caught up in these trapezoids and sit here in this comfort. Because this sextile is dealing with Neptune, what I was just talking about with the yod. And the squares. And the squares are to the north node and the south node. And what is it connected to? The midheaven. And because it's coming into conjunction, or it is into conjunction with Pluto. Do not escape things here. Don't run from it. Don't get too comfortable in these trions and try to escape something. Work on what you need to work on building, clearing old foundations where you have destroyed something or something has been destroyed, establishing something here. Like I said, I felt like yesterday was that big reset. But it's time to make the change. Don't just sit in this, because if you do, it ain't going to benefit you. Because that moon is in opposition to Venus. This cycle has got to stop. Look at your structures. You get too comfortable in this, you're going to miss the whole thing of what you're doing here, what you're trying to build. And Pluto's going to tear it down. Because you got to remember something here. Yes, Pluto may enter into Aquarius soon and depart from Capricorn. But remember, it's coming back one last time next year. And whatever you've been working on, whatever you've been doing here, believe you me, if it's not of a sound, solid structure and with a good plan, and you don't change, everything is going to crumble. And it's just the start of the next 20 years. Because Pluto is going to sit in Aquarius for 20 years, changing society. It will break you. It will put you through hell of what you have done if you don't correct it and clean it up and change. I know I've been there. I have never, that, for the last 13 to 15 years, I went through hell. I never knew hell existed like that before. Pluto came in and wiped out everything. All my dreams, all my goals, all my visions. It even tried to destroy my faith. My family, everything. Everything got destroyed. But it won't happen to me again. Mm-mm. My heart changed. I changed. I said, never again. Never, ever again will I believe in someone and put so much faith in someone in this world, or devote myself to someone of this world. My devotion now is to my faith, because it did not fail me. It did not fail me. If anything, it picked me up. It wiped me off. It cleaned me. And it changed my life, going back into my faith. And that is where I will stay. So that's why I said, don't get comfortable in a situation. Let people show you who they really are. Don't try to change people. Let them show you exactly who they are. And then at 2:04 still, we now have where Pluto in Capricorn is in a quincunx with, which we talked about this. I've also talked about this as the day goes. There's got to be decision and adjustments. And we have the Yod as well, still there. All, from that first time I showed you what was going on here. This is the day of change. This is the day you need to change and turn your life around. That you need to work on you and changing your heart, changing that, letting the Spirit come in, getting that devotion. Reawakening that spiritual flame within you. Do not sell your soul to anything. It will not last. You will fall in the end. You will suffer. Don't believe on this people in this earth. Don't have faith in them. Don't put your trust in government. Nobody. The only thing you put is in your faith. And if your faith is wrong, you need to question it. Your spiritual leaders, you need to question them. I don't agree with all of them. Listen to the messenger. Like I said, don't try to change anybody. Don't do it. Don't get comfortable in something here. Mm-mm. Nah, not ever again. If somebody tells you something, believe them. That's who they are. And don't try to change. Don't try to change that person. You better get away from them. Because all you're going to suffer is heartache. And I know about heartache. From people I thought would never, ever break my heart the way they did. Never in a million years would I thought. Hold on 1 second. Oh, hold on. I've got to go do something real quick. I just. Okay. So this is going to be going on. And then we've got at 5:35 today, we have Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, in opposition to also to that keeper of the spiritual flame. Because the ascending is there. That's coming up. What you feel. And this trapezoid starts with Saturn here. Saturn to Jupiter in a sextile. And then to the ascending with an opposition. Mercury in that opposition to the ascending. And Sun was the Sun in opposition to the ascending here. Or the ascending opposing the opposition. Whereas with Mercury being retrograde in Sagittarius, and it's conjunct with this. So that's what's creating all this. Something illuminating to you. That's come up. That spiritual flame. Where's your devotion set in life? Is it in the Father? Is it in the government? Is it in with a man? Look all through history. There have been good men and there have been evil men. Or there's been good women and there's been evil women. Which side do you want to be on? And it's time to change. I'm telling y'all, you've got to change. No, a lot of people, well, I used to hear people, why have I got to change? What have I got to change? It's only for your betterment. You want a good life? Then you need to change. Because right now, at 6:12 this evening, up until after midnight, you're going to be dealing with the squares. It's the sun, and it's going to start because of the moon in. All this is coming about because of the moon in Taurus at 24 degrees. Remember, I said heaven, government, the sun, the blood. Who loved you so much that allowed themselves to be crucified on a cross and die for you when they were an innocent person and loved this world? Who would do that for you? Ask yourself, is there anybody on this earth right now that would do that and go through that pain and suffering for you? Who has suffered for you? And gave their life for you? Ask yourself. I'm waiting. Let me know below in the comments that you were so loved. You were so valuable. Your soul, your heart. Who? I'm asking. We have the sun in a square to the midheaven. Remember, this is what's ascending right here. This is up here. If I change this, but I'm not going to do it. Because there is this square from Chiron. It's time to change. It's time to heal. There is something here within our souls needs healing. Right now at this point. And then there's the square to the spiritual side, where there is that devotion. The keeper of the spiritual flame is Vesta. This is the apex where you are right now, and is conjunct with Neptune. Your faith and your belief in what you believe in, that you are solely devoted to, or you aspire, you plan, you go. What is it? But there's an opposition. Because that sun is in Capricorn now. Again, we're talking about two mutable signs, a cardinal sign and a mutable sign squaring a mutable sign. You got to adapt. You got to change. You got to think. You got to activate your mind. And the square, T-square, that's dealing with the Vesta to Mercury. You've got to activate your mind to know that you have to change something here. Do not get comfortable in something in here. Don't settle. And this is going to go on all the way to after midnight. The energies, there will be some other things possibly during that time, but that's where the major things that I saw in the aspects that was important. Like I said, I don't deal with the semi-squares. I don't deal with the semi-sextiles. The major ones to me are the conjunctions, the sextiles, the squares, the trions, the inconjuncts, or the quincunxes, and the oppositions. These are the major aspects because they are the most important. Okay? So look at where you're stuck. Look what you're dealing with the squares. It's stumbling blocks or whatever it is you're trying to build in your life. And it's up to you how you handle this challenge. These two challenges here is going to show what you're like on the inside. That's why I said don't try to change anybody. Let them be who they are. Let them show you exactly who they are. And you'll know, is that person right to be in my life? This is how you find the right one. When you start changing you and changing your heart and your spirit and your devotion, if your devotion to something here is just to go in there and tear down everything in somebody's life, or leeching off of others, or harming others and destroying other people's life, then you're going to set the karma for yourself by your own actions, your own hand. And you'll be living it for the next 20 years. Is that where you want to be? I don't. So that's what I got for you today that's going on. You can look at this throughout the day. Like I said, I gave you the times. And this last one here, all this energy that will be going on with these squares will be happening around 6:12 Eastern Standard Time. So take note of these times that I give you, because it will be important. And you can look at it and say, okay, she said this was happening then at that time. This was happening then at that time. Okay? So I love you guys, and thank you for joining me. And I will see you on the other side.